Ticket Machine is the official ticket broker of Spartan Nation. No matter what you need a ticket for, border to border, coast to coast, the Ticket Machine is your ticket source. So whether you need to get into the hottest concerts, the best sporting events, you want the best seats in the house, or you just want to get in the door, when you want to go to any event that requires a ticket, anywhere, border to border, coast to coast, it's always theticketmachine.com. Theticketmachine.com, 517-655-3201. Check it out today at theticketmachine.com.
Welcome back, Spartan Nation. We always love to have Spartan Nation, longtime contributor, legendary prep football and basketball coach in the state of Michigan, the great Coach Chuck Grenier for this week's edition, the good, the bad, and the unsure. Coach, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you today?
Frustrated. How are you?
Just got out of the woods. I'm doing fine.
Did you see any deer this morning?
Not in the woods. I had to dodge a few going down there, but nothing in the woods.
Coach, I want to talk about the good, the bad, and the unsure. Michigan State comes out 31-20. Obviously, that's good. They're 3-1 on the year. So let's start with the good. Michigan State, I guess offensively, I don't know what, I don't have a whole lot to say here. Yeah. All right. Let's just go defensively. Boy, that defense is pretty sharp.
I'll tell you what, those four defensive tackles they have there are outstanding. And the two starters with Williams and Panizuk are unbelievable. Those guys, I think by far that was the highest point in the game is to watch those defensive tackles work in there. They were just, and I don't use the word dominating very often, but they sure were dominating. But that defensive line interior was great.
I agree with you, Coach. We're talking to Coach Chuck Grenier. Coach, I thought another thing that was really good was Max Rosenthal, the fullback. Especially on that one touchdown, his blocking prowess was really displayed, but I think he's been great all year.
Yeah, he has been great, and he definitely was a key block on the one touchdown for Jefferson, I believe it was. Yeah, he's been solid. He's been one of the few blocks that were solid for the whole year, I believe. So other than that, the offensive line still struggling, but he's been doing well. Tight ends have got to kick it up a couple notches too. So, but he's been a bright spot on the blocking schemes at MSU.
Special teams has been very good for Michigan State too.
Yeah, they've been really good. The kickoffs have been sound all year long, so you got to be liking that. I know we've complained the last few years about the inconsistency on kickoffs. The punting game was fair, of course. That's what you're going to get with fair. You don't have Hartberg in there, and then you're solid with Conklin. So special teams, return teams, and kickoff teams, punt teams have been solid.
All right, I'm just going to let you have your way on the bad. There's so much of it. I'll just let you go. Give us everything you see bad.
Well, it's the offensive line, and this week I did a little bit more in-depth watching on the offensive line. And for the life of me, there's a couple things that I'm confounded with. If I was picking and choosing who was going to be starting on the offensive line this week, I would start off with Matt Allen. How he was not the starting center this year, that confounds me. He's been doing a really good job in there. Then the second person I would pick would probably be Buter, and he's been doing a real fine job when he was in there. I thought Carrick did fine when he was in there. It's probably 50-50 with our right tackle at this time, Reed. He does fine and he's aggressive, but as far as when other teams bull rush him, he has a lot of difficulty there. I thought Beadle and Tyler Higsby struggle way too often, and their footwork is almost non-existent at some times. But the amount of times that they get stalemated at the line of scrimmage it just doesn't make any sense, because I thought they were a lot better last year than been this year, but they get stalemated so many times in the line of scrimmage, and Tyler really has a lot of difficulty with really good rush defensive ends. He just does not have the footwork to be at a left tackle.
Coach,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Please finish. I apologize.
No, I'm good. Go ahead.
I got to ask you a question because you've coached for so long. I get this email. I want to read this email too. It comes to us from Virginia. Virginia says, I have a question, Hondo. If you can't answer it, can you ask Coach Grenier? How can players who played so well last year be struggling so bad this year? Is that on players or coaching?
I think you got to go a little bit on both on that one, but I know Beetle was hurt in the off season and had some work to recoup on that. And something that sticks in my mind with D'Antonio, he mentioned about how the offensive line was being able to bench so much over the course of the year. And with me, I think that sometimes what players are getting in condition for over the course of the year, they may ball up. I had a tailback one year when I was coaching, and he just hit the weight room like a madman all year long. And as a junior, he was really good tailback as a junior, and as a senior coming out after bulking up too much, he didn't have quite as good a year. So that kind of thing could play into it. I don't know as far as how they situate. I know things have got to be pretty tough there, dinged up wise on the offensive line. And this is not a trash on Tyler Higbee. He's not a left tackle. And we've talked about this numerous times. He catches an awful lot when he's playing at guard, and as a left tackle, it's really difficult for him, for anybody that has any kind of quicks at all. So, there's players playing in the wrong spots. The other starting right tackle from last year, help me with his name right now because I'm thinking too much.
Luke Campbell.
Campbell, yeah. Campbell did fine as a right tackle last year. They put him in at left tackle. It's difficult for him. Missing Chewins so much this year, and I see he's playing a little bit more now. Missing Chewins with his ability to have long arms and the better feet is really hurting the offensive line this year. But yeah, it's a puzzlement sometimes when a player plays so well as a junior or a sophomore, then they come back the next year and they just don't perform at that level again, and it does make you wonder. So, it's baffling to see some of those players out there playing the situation that they're doing right now. I know I hear watching the offensive linemen in the interviews, and you interviewed Beetle after the game there, and he says that we're doing pretty good, but then one guy will break down in that. Well, there's more than one guy breaking down, and that's what the problem is. And maybe it's the blocking scheme, and they can't perform well with the blocking scheme that they have. If you go back and watch some of the plays over and over again and say, why did this fail? You're looking at guys moving in directions that I would think would be improper, but I'm not as smart as those guys there. So maybe it's just the way that it's set up.
Here's my question. If it's one guy going backwards, I think it's on players. But when it's multiple guys, I think you have to point at coaching, don't you?
Well, I think there's some real credibility there, too, because I watch their technique, especially in drop back passing or when they're in that kind of mode. And they just don't seem to have their feet moving the way that they should. They have a tendency to catch, if you understand what I mean. They kind of wait for the hit to come to them, and instead of, I always coached, there's only three ways that a player can move. He could either go to the left, to the right, or over you. So if you use your technique and set yourself up that you can take at least one of those things away, like going to the right, then you know that he's either got to go over you, which was going to slow him down to begin with, or that you can block him going to the left. And I just don't see that happening with some of the offensive linemen. They seem to accept the hit too much and not attack the hit.
Okay, so offensive line, what are your thoughts on the play of quarterback Brian Lewerke? He obviously rushes for a couple of touchdowns, but another critical interception in the end zone and just some questionable throws. Again, Brian Lewerke seems to have taken a step back from last year. And for anyone wondering, we both like Lewerke. We both think he's very talented. This is not a slam on Brian Lewerke. It's a slam on really the standard he set last year that he's not reaching this year.
Yeah, and I know we talked about that last week. Is it that he stepped back, or is it that the offensive line blocking is so bad he's trying to make it happen? Is it the play calling? For instance, we did a lot of talking. I don't know if we're going to talk about this a little bit about having Rocky Lombardi play. Well, Rocky Lombardi finally comes in the fourth quarter to get some action as a quarterback up there, and what do? They run that funky pitch toss to the left. Well, anybody that has ever scouted D'Antonio's teams or knows anything about Michigan State football in the last 11 years, ultra conservative, and it's going to be a running play on the first down. So Central Michigan, being well coached too, they just know that, and they just crowd the line of scrimmage and load up the box, and it makes them look bad at that. So there's a lot of that going on too. I thought Lewerke going into this year, his footwork was better. He's always had trouble passing short to his left, and you see that still is there. His footwork sometimes gets pretty bad, and he's more of an intermediate passer than he is a short passer and a long passer. He has trouble with short passes and long passes. He's more of an intermediate passer. And so when you're passing short, because of his footwork, and it was bad last year, it's better this year, but he still, with the panic or rush that he's getting right now, he still reverts to that, and he spreads himself out too much, and he's using too much of his arms, which makes the ball seem to sail to me. So passing to his left has always been interesting, especially short. And, it's a 50-50 pass going down the field anyway. But I think what they don't do at Michigan State, which would really help the offensive line out, on run plays, run more misdirection. And why they don't roll Lewerke out is a puzzlement to me also. He's a threat with his legs. He's good moving around a little bit and finding open receivers. So why not move the pocket right and left and help out the offensive line? And you might as well keep your tight ends in and have them block too, because they don't throw to them. So yeah, I think some of it is coaching, and just some of it is maybe having an off year. It is puzzling to watch out there. On some plays, he's looking great. On other plays, and what are you doing? So,
all right,
confusing.
And the unsure, man, there's a ton of injuries.
Oh yeah, I don't know if White is going to be back this year or this week. He's got a broken hand. Some players can play. Depends on if they can put a soft cast on it or not. But they surely will miss him. There's just a ton of injuries out there. Offensive line, wide receivers now. The defense seems to be holding up pretty good. The unsure part for me, again, is going to be the secondary pass defense. And I think we just got to live with it. And the teams that we've played have all been spread. We're going to see another spread team this week, and I think you just got to kind of live with this idea that they're going to bend underneath with the pass defense and hope that something goes wrong with their offense and that we make a pick or a big play on defense. So it's frustrating to watch, but that's the defense.
Yeah, but Coach, in defense of the defense, they are so owning the run game, they're making teams one-dimensional.
Exactly. Right.
So I'm not as worried about the pass defense as maybe others because teams can't run.
No, and so they have to pass, and Michigan State allows that underneath pass on it. There was one really bad call defensively in that game against Central Michigan when Central Michigan was down close, around the 5, I think, something along that line. They loaded up and brought all the linebackers and left the middle completely wide open, and that's just, that's just playing catch in the backfield or in the backyard with your dad. The guy just ran an inside slant, and Lane had absolutely no chance to help on that one. So that was an interesting call. But you know that they're not going to run the ball in a situation like that because that inside defensive line just not letting them do that. And then you take your linebackers and rush your linebackers too and open up the middle of the field on a quick slant. That was not a good call.
Coach, what's your prediction for Saturday against Northwestern?
Another frustrating day of watching Northwestern bip and bop and throw those underneath passes. I think we're going to get them. I know Northwestern played tough against Michigan last week. Maybe they're starting to get a little better, but the thing that we always had a problem with Northwestern was that they had a great passing game and they also had a great tailback. Now, Jackson graduated last year, and the new tailback was looking good at the beginning of the year. Now he's hurt, and he's gone. Had to give up his football career. So the thing that hurt us most against Northwestern was the ability of having a good tailback, make yardage, and kind of make us play in between defense. So I think we're going to be pretty good. It's going to be a game where they're going to dink and duck underneath again, but I think we're going to come out of this. I think we got a 14-point win this weekend.
The good, the bad, and the unsure with Coach Grenier each and every week. We'll be right back on the Spartan Nation Radio Network. Remember, keep it tuned, SpartanNation.com. We'll be right back. .com. We'll be right back. .com.